The stars shone like scattered diamonds across the vast blackness of space. In the distance, the pale blue glow of the human ship Aegis Vanguard cut through the darkness. Captain Alara Voss stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the console. Her crew moved with quiet efficiency, their faces lit by the soft hum of the ship's instruments. For weeks, the human fleet had followed a distress signal from a distant star system. The signal was weak and fragmented, but there was something urgent about it, something that tugged at humanity's instinct to help. It came from a small planet orbiting a dying sun, a planet that was home to a fragile alien race known as the Lorraine. The Lorraine were unlike any species humans had encountered before. They had delicate, translucent skin that glowed faintly in the dark, and their eyes reflected the light of their world like pools of liquid silver. Their civilization had once been advanced, but years of natural disasters, coupled with hostile invasions by other alien empires, had left them on the brink of extinction. "Captain," Lieutenant Soren said, breaking the silence, "we are approaching the Lorraine system. Sensors show a deteriorating atmosphere. Oxygen levels are at 20%. Surface temperature is fluctuating rapidly." Alara nodded, her mind already racing through the possible strategies. "Keep scanners active. We need to understand their world before we make any moves. And open a communication channel," she said. "I want to speak to them before we land." The crew worked efficiently, each member moving with the precision that only years of training could bring. Outside, the planet looked fragile, a jewel suspended in a dying star's pale light. Clouds of greenish gas swirled across its surface, evidence of the instability that threatened life itself. After a tense few minutes, the Lorraine responded. A voice, soft and melodic, filled the bridge. It was unlike anything human ears had heard, gentle, harmonious, but tinged with fear. "Who approaches our world?" the voice asked. Alara straightened. "We are humans from the United Earth Federation. We received your distress signal. We mean no harm. We are here to help." There was silence. The voice hesitated as if weighing the truth of her words. Finally, it spoke again. "Humans, you are different. Others have come before. They promised help, but they took instead. Why should we trust you?" Alara's heart ached at the fear in their tone. "Because we understand loss," she said. "Because we believe that every life has value. We do not take, we give, and we will stay until your world is safe." The Lorraine paused once more, then slowly opened a path for the humans to enter their atmosphere. Aegis Vanguard descended, the ship's engines adjusting to the alien air. Below, the landscape was harsh and unpredictable. Rivers of molten minerals ran alongside cracked plains. Forests struggled to grow in patches, and the cities, once towering, lay in ruin. Alara and her team disembarked, wearing protective suits that filtered the air and regulated their temperature. The Lorraine waited at a distance, their glowing forms cautious but curious. One stepped forward, a being of shimmering light and fragile limbs. "I am Lyra," the being said. "You are welcome here, but do not be fooled. Our world is fragile. One mistake could destroy everything we have left." Alara bowed slightly, a human gesture of respect. "We understand. We will be careful. Tell us how we can help." Lyra hesitated, then led them to a council chamber carved into the remains of a once great crystal spire. Inside, other Lorraine gathered, their eyes reflecting worry and hope. They explained the challenges they faced: the sun's unstable energy output, failing ecosystems, and a shortage of resources that had forced them to abandon most of their cities. Alara listened carefully, taking notes and asking questions. "We have technology that can help stabilize your atmosphere temporarily," she said. "We can also share knowledge about sustainable energy and food production, but we will need your cooperation to make it work." The Lorraine murmured among themselves. Finally, Lyra spoke. "We have little choice. If your intentions are true, we will accept your help. But be warned, if your aid fails, we will not survive. And our world may be lost forever." Alara nodded. "We accept that responsibility. Humanity does not turn away from those in need. We will do everything we can." Over the following days, the humans worked alongside the Lorraine. Engineers and scientists collaborated to install atmospheric stabilizers that filtered harmful gases and released oxygen. Human biologists introduced resilient plant species that could survive the harsh environment, slowly restoring life to barren areas. The Lorraine, cautious at first, began to participate, sharing their knowledge of the planet and guiding humans to the regions most in need. One evening, Ilara stood at the edge of a recovering forest, watching the faint glow of Lorani homes as they began to shine once more. Lieutenant Soren joined her, carrying a datapad filled with progress reports. "They're responding well," Soren said. "Oxygen levels have increased by 5% in just 2 weeks. Some regions are showing signs of stable weather patterns." Ilara smiled faintly. "It's only a start, but it's something. They've never seen this kind of cooperation before, I think. I think they're beginning to believe in us, but not all was peaceful." In the shadows of the sector, other alien empires watched humanity's actions with suspicion. They whispered of human interference, calling it naive, reckless, and dangerous. Some saw an opportunity to manipulate the humans, while others plotted to stop them before they could become a true power in the galaxy. Back on the planet, Ilara received a warning from her sensors. Small ships were approaching the system, moving cautiously but with clear intent. She frowned. "They've noticed us," she said. "And not everyone will be happy with what we're doing here." Before she could act, Lyra appeared beside her. "Humans," she said softly, "do not be afraid. You have shown kindness to a world that had lost hope. That is a rare gift. If you continue, your actions may change more than our world. They may change the hearts of many across the stars." Ilara felt a warmth in her chest. Humanity had always believed in helping others even when the risks were great. But now, in a galaxy full of fear and suspicion, that belief was being tested on a scale larger than she had ever imagined. The night sky above shimmered with the approaching alien ships. Ilara turned to her crew, determination shining in her eyes. "We didn't come here to fight. We came here to help. But we will not abandon the Lorani. Prepare the ship. Make contact if necessary. And remember, we do this not because it is easy, but because it is right." As the first of the unknown ships entered the atmosphere, the Lorani gathered around, their glowing forms united in hope and fear. Humanity had stepped into a delicate web of politics, power, and survival. One wrong move could destroy everything they had worked for. But Captain Ilara Voss knew one thing for certain. Humans never forget a kindness, and when they answered a call for help, their answer could change worlds. And in that moment, as the stars gleamed above and the alien ships closed in, the first seeds of a bond that might reshape the galaxy were planted. Humanity was here not as conquerors, not as mercenaries, but as allies, guided by a simple principle: to help when help was needed, and to honor every life that reached out in trust. The challenge had only just begun, but for the Lorani, and perhaps for the entire galaxy, a new chapter of hope was about to unfold. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would soon learn that their kindness was not weakness. It was a power unlike any other. The Aegis Vanguard hovered silently above the fragile planet. Its sleek frame reflected the pale light of the dying sun, while sensors continuously scanned for threats. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge, her brow furrowed. Though the Lorani's atmosphere was slowly stabilizing, a new danger had emerged, one that no technology alone could solve. Reports from their long-range scanners were troubling. Small, sleek ships were moving through the sector toward the Lorani system. They were fast, silent, and well-armed. From previous intelligence, humanity knew these ships belonged to a coalition of alien empires that had long dominated this region of the galaxy. They viewed outsiders with suspicion and saw humans' sudden involvement as a threat to their control. "Captain," Lieutenant Soren said, "I'm reading multiple vessels on an intercept course. They're armed, but they haven't fired. Yet." Ilara's mind raced. "Keep tracking them. I want to know who they are and what they want. Open a communication channel, but be ready for anything." The crew worked with precision, as always. Humans had a unique way of approaching the unknown. They combined logic with empathy, always seeking a solution before resorting to conflict. When the communication link opened, a cold, metallic voice filled the bridge. "Humans," it said, "you have entered a region under the protection of the Interstellar Dominion. Leave this system immediately or face the consequences." Ilara straightened. "We are here to assist a species in distress. We mean no harm. The Lorani have requested our aid and we will not abandon them." The voice hesitated. "Your actions interfere with our agreements. You are naive to think your good intentions will be respected." Ilara replied firmly. "Perhaps. But humanity does not act out of fear. We act out of responsibility. We do not take, we give. And that is not negotiable." The silence that followed was tense, broken only by the faint hum of the ship's engines. Then the voice said, "You have been warned." The channel closed, leaving an uneasy feeling in the air. Alara turned to her crew. "They are testing us," she said. "They see our help as a challenge to their authority. We cannot ignore this, but we also cannot fight unless we must. Prepare defenses, but continue our work with the Lorraine. We will find another way." Meanwhile, on the surface, the Lorraine were beginning to feel the changes brought by humans. Forests were slowly returning to barren plains, and rivers that had once run dry now carried water to parched lands. Children of the Lorraine, curious and bright, watched humans with fascination, their glowing eyes reflecting trust they had never known. Lyra, the Lorraine leader, approached Captain Voss during one of the daily progress meetings. "Humans," Lyra said, her voice tinged with worry. "Your presence is changing more than our land. It is changing the eyes of the other species in this sector. You bring hope, but you also bring attention. Not all who watch are friendly." Alara nodded. "We expected that. But abandoning those in need is not an option. We will find a way to protect your people without harming others unnecessarily." Over the following days, tension grew. Small ships from the Coalition appeared on the sensors more frequently, always skirting the edge of the system. They did not attack directly, but their presence was a warning, a silent threat meant to intimidate humans and the Lorraine alike. In response, Alara and her team began studying the Coalition's tactics. They discovered subtle sabotage attempts, small drones sent to disrupt energy systems, interference with atmospheric stabilizers, and attempts to intercept communications between humans and the Lorraine. It was clear that the Coalition wanted to prevent the Lorraine from stabilizing their planet. "We're not just fighting nature," Lieutenant Soren said one evening. "We're fighting fear and control, and they think they can intimidate us because we are new to this sector." Ilara's gaze was steady. "Then we will show them that humans do not fight with fear, but with intelligence, cooperation, and determination. We are here for a reason. We will adapt." One night, while reviewing data on approaching ships, the crew detected a hidden message embedded in the Coalition's signals. Captain Voss carefully decoded it. The message was clear. The Coalition planned to destroy the Lorraine before they could fully recover, fearing that a resurgent species might ally with humans and challenge their dominance. "This is worse than we thought," Alara said, her voice calm but determined. "They do not want a war. They want to eliminate the Lorraine quietly. We cannot let that happen." The crew gathered for a strategy meeting. "We need allies," Alara said. "Not just humans and Lorraine, but species that have been overlooked, those who have no stake in this power struggle. They will help us counter the Coalition without escalating into full-scale war." Lieutenant Soren raised an eyebrow. "Are you suggesting diplomacy in a sector ruled by fear?" "That's risky, Captain." "Risky, yes," Alara admitted. "But war is not the only answer. Humans have always found ways to solve problems with creativity and cooperation. We will prove it again." Over the next week, small teams were sent to contact other alien civilizations in nearby systems, species that had suffered under the Coalition's rule or had been marginalized by them. Humans approached each one with transparency and respect, sharing information about the Lorraine's plight and the Coalition's threats. Slowly, alliances formed, not out of fear but out of shared interest and a sense of justice. Meanwhile, on the Lorraine planet, atmospheric stabilizers continued to work. Clouds cleared in some regions, revealing bright blue skies. Rivers began flowing steadily, and the first signs of wildlife returned. Lorraine citizens, once skeptical, now worked alongside humans to strengthen their cities and farms. The children played near new green spaces, laughing and glowing softly under the planet's light. Yet the Coalition was never far. Skirmishes in space became more frequent, though humans avoided direct combat. Using strategy and intelligence, they disabled enemy ships without causing casualties, jamming engines, redirecting energy flows, and creating temporary electromagnetic shields to protect Lorraine cities. Each time, humans demonstrated that power did not have to be destructive. Captain Voss watched from the bridge as one Coalition ship drifted harmlessly away, disabled but intact. She turned to her crew. "Every time we protect without destroying, we show the galaxy that there is another way. Humans do not fight for power. We fight for life. That is our strength." Lyra approached her during a quiet moment. "You are unlike any species we have encountered. Others conquer, steal, or destroy. You give even when it is dangerous. How do you maintain this courage? Ilara smiled softly. Because we believe in something greater than fear or greed. We believe in responsibility, in the power of kindness, and in remembering those who extend trust to us. We never forget a kindness, and we answer it with action no matter the cost. The Loreni were silent for a moment, reflecting on her words. Then Lyra said, "If all species in the galaxy thought like you, perhaps the stars themselves would be different." Ilara felt the weight of their words, but also a spark of hope. Yes, the coalition was powerful, and the challenges ahead were immense. But humans had survived and thrived because they valued cooperation, empathy, and intelligence. If they could teach even a small part of this to the galaxy, the future would be brighter. Not just for the Loreni, but for countless others. That night, the human crew gathered to review progress. The Loreni were learning, adapting, and slowly regaining confidence in their world. And while the shadow of the coalition loomed near, the humans had already proven something remarkable. That courage combined with kindness could challenge fear and power, even in the darkest corners of space. Captain Voss looked out at the planet below, lights flickering in restored cities and glowing forests. She knew the road ahead would be difficult. The coalition would not stop, and the galaxy would continue to test humanity's resolve. But for now, a seed of hope had been planted, a reminder that even in a universe filled with suspicion and danger, there were those who would act for good, without expecting reward. And in that knowledge, both humans and Loreni found strength. They were not alone. They were together. And together, they might just reshape not only a planet but the fate of the stars themselves. The Loreni planet, once a fragile shadow of its former self, now glimmered with faint life. Trees stretched slowly toward the sky. Rivers sparkled in the sunlight and cities began to regain their former glow. Yet above the surface, the quiet tension of the approaching coalition fleet persisted. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aegis Vanguard, watching the sensors display dozens of small enemy ships maneuvering along the system's outer edge. "They're testing us again," she said. "But this time we're ready." Lieutenant Soren nodded. "Their patterns are predictable now. They expect humans to react like other species. But we don't." Ilara allowed herself a small smile. That was humanity's advantage: creativity, intelligence, and the refusal to be bound by the same rules that limited others. While the coalition relied on fear and brute force, humans relied on strategy, resourcefulness, and cooperation. "Deploy drone units," she ordered. "I want detailed scans of every vessel, and I want them disrupted without direct damage. Our goal is to protect the Loreni, not escalate the war." In orbit above the planet, the drones swarmed like a cloud of silver fireflies, moving faster than the human eye could follow. They projected decoy signals, scrambled the coalition ships' targeting systems, and disabled engines with electromagnetic pulses. No ships were destroyed, but many were forced to retreat temporarily, confused and frustrated by the humans' unconventional tactics. Meanwhile, on the planet, humans and Loreni worked together to strengthen defenses. The Loreni, inspired by human ingenuity, began creating energy shields around key cities, integrating their own light-based technology with human designs. Children who once hid in fear now ran through training fields, learning to operate monitoring devices and assist in environmental restoration. Captain Voss walked through one of these cities, her presence calm and encouraging. Lyra approached her, glowing softly in the afternoon light. "Your methods are unlike anything we have seen," Lyra said. "Others would have attacked or destroyed the intruders. You adapt, protect, and teach. Why do you not fear them?" Ilara smiled. "We do feel fear, Lyra, but fear is not weakness. It is a signal to think, to plan, to act wisely. Humans have survived because we face challenges with our minds and our hearts. We don't destroy what we do not need to. We protect life because life is valuable." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "You make it seem simple." Ilara shook her head gently. "It's not simple, but it is necessary, and it is what separates us from those who rule through fear." In orbit, the coalition fleet regrouped. Their initial tests had failed. They could not understand how a small human fleet had disrupted their formations without firing a single destructive shot. Reports from their command vessels conveyed disbelief. Humans were effective, yet peaceful. On the surface, humans introduced new technologies to restore the planet's ecology. Machines that could purify water on a large scale, devices that accelerated plant growth without harming native species, and atmospheric stabilizers powered by renewable energy began to transform the Lurini environment. Cities became habitable again, and once barren plains were filled with resilient greenery. Yet the Coalition did not relent. A single human drone captured unusual activity on a nearby asteroid belt. Hidden within the rocks were small autonomous attack vessels, designed to strike suddenly and overwhelm the planet's defenses. Ilara studied the patterns and realized that brute force alone would not win. Strategy would. "We will draw them out," she said to her officers. "Let them reveal their positions and weaknesses. Then we will act, but on our terms." Days passed. The Coalition vessels advanced, only to be thwarted repeatedly by human ingenuity. Using camouflage, drones, and electronic interference, humans disrupted enemy communications and created illusions of greater force. The Coalition fleet grew frustrated, realizing that their traditional methods of intimidation and aggression were useless against a species that thought differently. On the planet, humans worked alongside the Lurini to create systems that allowed for rapid response to emergencies. A combination of light-based sensors and human satellites provided early warnings of any intrusion. Human engineers trained the Lurini in these technologies, blending alien intuition with human problem-solving. One evening, Captain Voss stood with Lyra overlooking a restored river. The water sparkled as the sun set, and the air felt cleaner than it had in decades. "The planet is healing faster than I imagined," Lyra said softly. "Humans, your presence gives us more than tools." "You give us hope," Ilara nodded. "That is why we are here. We do not seek glory or power. We want to protect, to guide, to ensure that life survives and grows. Sometimes that is the most powerful thing we can do." Suddenly, an alert flashed on the bridge. A Coalition strike team had attempted a direct attack on one of the planetary stabilizers. Captain Voss acted immediately, deploying drones to intercept the intruders. In a spectacular display, the drones neutralized the threat, herding the strike vessels back into open space while leaving them unharmed. Lieutenant Soren shook his head in amazement. "They won't expect this. Every time they attack, we find a way to protect without destruction. It's incredible." Ilara's eyes remained fixed on the screens. "This is what makes humans different. We do not let fear control us, and we do not resort to violence unless there is no other option. That is why we succeed where others fail." The Lurini began contributing more actively. They provided insights into hidden environmental hazards and shared their ancient knowledge of planetary energy flows. Humans integrated this knowledge into their technology, creating stronger, more resilient defenses. Together, they had become a team. Humans with their ingenuity, Lurini with their wisdom. In the Coalition fleet, discussions grew tense. Commanders could not understand why humans refused to fight traditionally, yet consistently thwarted their attacks. Fear, confusion, and frustration spread through their ranks. Some proposed retreat, while others plotted more aggressive strategies. The Coalition had never faced a species that could fight so effectively without resorting to destruction. Back on the planet, the partnership between humans and Lurini reached a new milestone. The first sustainable city had been restored. Homes glowed warmly, powered by clean energy. Rivers and streams flowed through streets once silent and empty. Forests surrounded the city, a symbol of life returning. Children played safely, their laughter a rare sound on a world that had almost forgotten joy. Ilara walked through the city with Lyra. "You see what can happen when we work together?" she said. Lyra nodded, her glow brighter than ever. "We see a future we thought was impossible. Humans, your presence teaches us more than science. It teaches us courage, patience, and hope." Captain Voss smiled. "That is humanity's gift. We never forget kindness, and we always act when help is needed. That is our strength. Not our weapons, not our ships, but our hearts and minds. That is what the galaxy does not yet understand." The Coalition, observing from afar, could not ignore the growing bond between humans and Lurini. Alliances that had seemed impossible were forming, inspired by humans' ethical approach. Species that had once remained neutral or fearful began sending envoys to understand the humans' methods. The seeds of a new era were being planted, an era based not on fear and conquest but on cooperation and mutual respect. Yet the danger was far from over. The Coalition would not give up easily. They would continue to test humanity, to challenge their methods, and to threaten the Lurini. But Captain Voss knew that humans had already proven something extraordinary, that intelligence, empathy, and courage could change the course of events. As night fell over the restored city, Ilara looked up at the stars, her mind focused on the challenges ahead. "We have the advantage," she said softly. "Not because we are stronger, but because we are willing to act differently. The galaxy has never seen a species like us, and it is time they learned that true strength is not measured by firepower, but by the courage to protect, to create, and to remember what is right." Lyra joined her, placing a glowing hand on Ilara's shoulder. "Then let us continue," she said. "Together we will protect our world and perhaps teach the stars a new way of living." Captain Voss smiled. The partnership between humans and Lorraine had begun, and their combined ingenuity and courage would soon face the greatest test yet. But for now, they had achieved what many thought impossible. A fragile world, once on the brink of collapse, now thriving because of the human way, the way of intelligence, empathy, and the unwavering drive to do what is right. The Coalition fleet waited in the shadows, unaware that they were facing a force unlike any other. Humans did not fight like others, and that difference was their greatest weapon, and in that moment, both humans and Lorraine understood something profound, that hope, when guided by courage and action, could outshine fear, and that together, they could shape not only a planet but perhaps the destiny of an entire star system. The Lorraine planet shimmered under the light of its fragile sun, but the calm was deceptive. In orbit, the Coalition fleet had gathered, larger and more determined than ever. Their weapons were advanced, their tactics precise, and their intentions clear. This was a decisive strike meant to crush the Lorraine and humiliate the humans who dared to defend them. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aegis Vanguard, her hands resting lightly on the control panel. Around her, the crew moved with focused determination. Every member of the human team knew the stakes. They were facing a force far stronger than themselves in sheer numbers, yet they did not hesitate. "They've brought their full fleet," Lieutenant Soren said, his voice tense. "Estimates suggest at least 3 times our strength. They will overwhelm any direct defense," Ilara nodded. "We do not fight like others. That is our advantage. Prepare all defensive measures. Deploy drones to monitor fleet movements. But remember, our goal is to protect the Lorraine, not to escalate this into a war of destruction. We fight to save life, not take it." On the planet's surface, the Lorraine prepared as well. Their cities had been fortified with energy shields, and human-designed early warning systems had been integrated with their own light-based sensors. Citizens worked tirelessly to ensure that their homes and resources would survive the coming assault. Lyra approached Captain Voss, her glow bright and steady. "Humans," she said, "we are grateful, but even with your knowledge, the Coalition's attack may be too great. Are you certain we can survive this?" Ilara placed a reassuring hand on Lyra's shoulder. "We will adapt. We always do. Humans never give up when others are in need. Today is no different. We will protect your people and your world together." As predicted, the Coalition launched their assault at dawn. Dozens of sleek ships darted through space, firing energy pulses and trying to breach the Lorraine's shields. But the humans' preparations were extraordinary. Using a combination of drones, decoys, and electromagnetic fields, they disrupted targeting systems and created false images of the planet's defenses. The Coalition fleet fired at shadows and illusions, wasting precious energy on defenses that were not real. On the surface, the Lorraine watched anxiously as the skies above filled with enemy fire. Children huddled near the restored forests, while engineers and citizens activated defensive systems under the guidance of humans. It was a coordinated effort, a collaboration that no single species had achieved before. Ilara monitored the battle from orbit. Her mind worked rapidly, analyzing enemy formations and predicting movements. "Divert energy to planetary shields," she commanded. "Use the drones to herd incoming vessels. Focus on disruption, not destruction. Remember, we protect life above all." The Coalition, growing frustrated, launched a secret weapon, a massive energy beam intended to disable the planet's stabilizers in one strike. Sensors detected the beam forming on one of the outermost ships. The humans had only moments to act. "We can't let them destroy the stabilizers," Lieutenant Soren said urgently. "If they succeed, the atmosphere will collapse." Ilara's mind raced. "We don't destroy it, we repurpose it. Channel it into planetary restoration. Redirect the energy through our shield grids. She gestured to the crew. Do it now. The human engineers worked with precision. Energy was diverted from the incoming beam, passing through their grids and into the stabilizers. The planet trembled as immense power flowed through the systems, but the stabilizers held. The Lorraine gasped as the sky cleared, clouds parting and sunlight bathing the land. Lyra watched, astonished. You saved us with their own weapon? Ilara nodded. We turned danger into opportunity. That is how humans survive. That is how humans protect life. The coalition ships faltered. Their plan had backfired, their strike used against them. The humans and Lorraine capitalized on the moment, launching coordinated maneuvers that disrupted the fleet further. Using intelligence, patience, and ingenuity, they neutralized the threat without destroying a single vessel. On the planet, the citizens cheered quietly. Their world had survived not because of overwhelming power, but because of strategy, cooperation, and courage. Children played once again near safe zones, while engineers repaired minor damages and restored infrastructure. Humanity had shown that true strength was measured not by firepower, but by the ability to protect and preserve life. Captain Voss turned to her crew. This is only one battle. The coalition will continue to challenge us. But remember, our goal is to save lives, not take them. That is our advantage. That is what makes us human. Lyra approached her once more. Your methods, they are beyond anything we imagined. Others would have destroyed the enemy, but you found a way to protect without taking life. How is this possible? Ilara smiled. It is possible because we never forget what it means to be responsible. We answer kindness with action, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. Power without compassion is empty. Intelligence without heart is dangerous. Humans balance both. That is why we succeed where others fail. As the day passed, coalition forces began to retreat. They had underestimated humans' approach, their ability to adapt, and their commitment to preserving life. Some factions began sending envoys to observe the humans' methods, curious and cautious. The seeds of understanding, cooperation, and change were being planted across the galaxy, even in the minds of those who had opposed them. On the planet, the first permanent green zones were established. Parks, gardens, and forests flourished alongside human technology. Rivers purified and flowing steadily, nourished the land and its inhabitants. Lorraine children laughed and played safely, their glowing forms reflecting the sunlight. Captain Voss walked through the city with Lyra. You see what we can do together? She said. Lyra's glow brightened. Yes, we see hope, courage, and the power of partnership. Humans, you have given us more than protection. You have given us a future. Ilara placed a hand on the glowing surface of a restored tree, feeling the life within. This is only the beginning. We have shown that intelligence, empathy, and courage can change outcomes. That is a lesson for every species in this sector. The galaxy will learn that humans do not fight like others. We fight to preserve life, to inspire hope, and to honor trust. As night fell, the coalition fleet disappeared beyond the edge of the system. Their attempt to destroy the planet had failed, and their perspective on humans had changed forever. Observers noted the unprecedented approach. Humans had defended a world without unnecessary violence, turning potential destruction into restoration. On the Lorraine planet, a ceremony was held to honor the humans. Citizens, leaders, and children gathered beneath the newly restored sky. Lyra spoke to the assembly, her voice filled with pride and gratitude. Humans, she said, you came when we were on the brink of despair. You showed courage, intelligence, and compassion. You have not only saved our world, but you have taught us that hope can overcome even the darkest threats. Captain Voss addressed the crowd. We did what anyone would do if they had the chance to help. Humans never forget a kindness, and we answer it with action. Today your world lives because you trusted, and because we acted together. Let this be a lesson, not just for this planet, but for every star in the galaxy. Cooperation and compassion are stronger than fear and destruction. The Lorraine cheered, their glow brighter than ever. Children danced through the parks. Elders smiled in relief, and citizens worked together to rebuild their world stronger than before. Humanity had not only protected the planet, but had inspired a philosophy that could reshape entire civilizations. As Captain Voss gazed at the thriving cities and glowing forests, she knew the challenges were not over. The coalition would return, new threats would arise, and the galaxy would continue to test them. But for now, Humans had proven something extraordinary, that intelligence, courage, and kindness could achieve what force alone could not. And in that moment, on a world once near destruction, the Lurini and humans celebrated a victory that was more than survival. It was a testament to what could happen when a species remembered the value of life, the power of cooperation, and the importance of answering kindness with action. The galaxy had been reminded of a truth that humans carried in every starship and every heart. That hope, courage, and compassion could shine brighter than any weapon, and that one species' commitment to life could inspire change across worlds. The Lurini planet had transformed. Once a fragile, dying world, it now shimmered with life and possibility. Rivers flowed steadily, forests thrived, and cities glowed warmly under the light of the sun. The air was clean, the skies clear, and the once silent streets filled with laughter and activity. Humanity's presence had not only restored the planet, it had inspired a new way of living for the Lurini. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Aegis Vanguard, watching the system's stars twinkle above. The Coalition fleet had retreated, for now regrouping in distant sectors, wary of humans and their unusual methods. Yet Ilara knew the galaxy would not remain quiet forever. New challenges would arise and humanity would continue to be tested. Lieutenant Soren approached, holding a data pad. Captain, the Coalition reports indicate confusion. Some factions are considering alliances with us. Others are studying our methods. They've never seen a species defend and protect without destruction. It has unsettled them. Ilara nodded. They will learn eventually. But our priority remains the Lurini. We've proven our approach works. Now we need to ensure it lasts. On the planet, the Lurini Council convened in the main city, a place now restored with human guidance. Lyra addressed the assembly, her glow radiating pride and hope. Humans, she said, you have done more than save our world. You have shown us courage, wisdom, and compassion. You have demonstrated that strength is measured not by weapons, but by the ability to protect life and to act for good, even when it is difficult. Ilara stepped forward. We did what any responsible species would do. We help when help is needed, and we act when others reach out in trust. Humanity never forgets a kindness, and we repay it with our actions. Today your world thrives because we acted together. The Lurini cheered. Citizens, young and old, glowing, softly under the sun, celebrated not only survival but the restoration of their planet and their hope for the future. Yet the humans' work was not over. Beyond the restored cities and forests, teams continued to strengthen ecosystems, repair technology, and prepare for long-term stability. Human engineers collaborated with Lurini scientists to create sustainable energy systems, water purification networks, and communication grids that would last for generations. One morning, Ilara and Lyra visited a new forest planted by humans and Lurini together. The trees were young, but their roots dug deep into the soil, symbolizing growth, resilience, and the promise of the future. Children ran among the trees, laughing and glowing while adults worked to expand the green zones. This forest is more than just plants, Lyra said softly. It is a symbol of hope, courage, and partnership. Humans, you have given us not just tools, but a vision. Ilara smiled. That is the human way. We do not act for reward or recognition. We act because it is right. We remember kindness, and we answer it in ways that can shape the future. As days passed, news of humanity's success spread across nearby star systems. Alien species that had observed the events of the Lurini planet began to rethink their own approaches. Diplomats arrived, not to threaten or intimidate, but to learn from humans. They studied the methods used to defend a planet without violence, to restore life rather than destroy it, and to create alliances based on trust and cooperation. Back on the planet, preparations continued for a ceremonial celebration of the planet's revival. Humans and Lurini worked side by side to organize the event, marking the beginning of a new era. Streets were decorated with bioluminescent plants, and structures that had been destroyed were rebuilt using a combination of human technology and Lorraine artistry. Captain Voss stood at the center of the city, surrounded by glowing citizens and restored buildings. "Look at this," she said to Lyra. "This is what happens when we work together. Life can thrive, even in the face of darkness." Lyra nodded. "We have learned that courage, intelligence, and compassion can change the course of worlds. You have shown us what it means to protect, to hope, and to act wisely." That evening, as the sun set over the restored planet, the humans gathered with the Lorraine for the final ceremony. A large plaza had been prepared, filled with citizens, scientists, engineers, and children. The air was filled with the scent of growing forests and the gentle hum of restored cities. Alara addressed the assembly. "We came to this world because it called for help. You trusted us, and together we protected your home. Humanity never forgets a kindness, and we answer it with action. Today, your planet thrives because we acted together. But this is only the beginning. Your people now carry the knowledge, the courage, and the hope to continue building a future without fear." The crowd erupted in cheers. The Lorraine children danced among the restored trees, their laughter echoing through the city. Adults smiled, some shedding tears of relief and joy. Humanity's approach had not only saved a world, it had transformed the hearts of a species. In the weeks that followed, humans assisted in establishing interstellar communication with neighboring systems. Trade, knowledge exchange, and diplomatic relations began forming, inspired by the success on the Lorraine planet. Even factions of the coalition that had once opposed humans now sought dialogue, intrigued by their methods of non-violent strategy and cooperation. Captain Voss and her crew prepared to depart. Their mission had succeeded beyond expectation. The Lorraine planet was stable, thriving, and stronger than ever before. And the galaxy had witnessed the power of humanity's unique approach: courage, tempered by compassion, intelligence balanced with morality, and the unwavering drive to protect life. Before leaving, Alara stood with Lyra at the edge of the city, overlooking the rivers and forests that now flourished. "This is your home now," Alara said. "We will always remember what we did here, but the future is yours. Protect it, grow it, and share it with the galaxy." Lyra's glow brightened, reflecting both pride and gratitude. "We will, humans. Your presence has changed us forever. You have given us more than survival. You have given us vision, courage, and hope." Alara smiled softly. "That is what humanity does. We act, we protect, and we remember. One act of kindness can ripple through time, shaping worlds and civilizations. Today, you are living proof of that truth." As the Aegis Vanguard prepared to jump into hyperspace, the Lorraine citizens waved, their glow illuminating the night. Children laughed, elders nodded in gratitude, and the restored forests swayed gently in the evening breeze. The planet, once on the brink of destruction, now stood as a symbol of resilience, cooperation, and hope. In the vastness of space, Captain Voss reflected on their journey. Humanity had faced fear, suspicion, and overwhelming odds, yet they had succeeded, not through aggression, not through dominance, but through courage, intelligence, and an unwavering commitment to what was right. The galaxy would remember this day, she knew, not as a story of conquest, but as a story of possibility. That even in the darkest corners of the stars, hope could shine. That even when life seemed fragile and threatened, courage and compassion could protect it. And that when kindness is met with action, the universe itself can be transformed. The Aegis Vanguard jumped to hyperspace, leaving behind a planet thriving with life, a civilization strengthened by knowledge and hope, and a galaxy that had witnessed the extraordinary power of humanity. Captain Alara Voss looked forward, toward countless stars yet to be explored. New worlds would call for help, new civilizations would face danger, and new challenges would arise. And humanity would answer, as it always had, with courage, intelligence, and an unwavering commitment to life. For humanity never forgets a kindness, and their answer, when given, can reshape worlds. inspire civilizations, and ignite hope across the stars. On the Lurini planet, life continued to bloom. The rivers sparkled, the forests thrived, and the cities glowed with warmth and energy. Children played freely, their laughter carrying through the valleys. And in every corner of the restored world, a single truth echoed. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. A new era had begun, one where courage, intelligence, and compassion guided the fate of worlds, proving that the human way was more than survival. It was a force that could reshape planets, inspire civilizations, and light the stars with hope.